Will you bring me the remote for the fan? It's like really loud. Thank you.
It's hot in here.
Okay, I'm live. My sweet baby. I want to be able to see. Did you turn the fan off?
No.
Oh, you just turned it on low. I think medium is okay. Hello, Frantonio. Hi, Annabelle. I'm feeling really good today. I think we're going to have a really productive conversation today because I want to address just a few things. And so I think this should be a good conversation. Hi, Dark Prophet. How are you? Okay, so I have 2 MGTOW videos I have personally made on my channel. You guys know there are some things I don't vibe with. I don't vibe with the gays. I don't vibe with the feminists. And I don't vibe with MGTOW. Those are kind of like all things that I personally, I am not into. I don't really approve of. All that jazz. So I literally have, you guys can't see all my videos, but I have about 250 videos. I think 200 of them you guys can see. And 2 of those videos are about MGTOW. I have done literally dozens of interviews. I have done dozens of panels, and one of those was about MGTOW. So probably collectively in all of my time on YouTube, I have spoken on MGTOW specifically 3 times. Now, I might mention it here in passing, but heck, I mentioned the gays in passing. I mentioned the feminazis in passing. But the MGTOW people are very obsessed with me. They are literally obsessed. I have a MGTOW video that literally just got 4,000 more views because people keep finding the video and they keep making response videos. You guys know that when people make videos about me, I don't watch them. Now, I have gone to a couple of MGTOW videos that have been made about me. I don't watch them, but I do thumbs up the video, and I'll put a comment like "great video" in the description box, just because, y'all, I can be a lightweight troll. But on a serious note, I want to really dig into this issue that MGTOW has and that the feminists have, and I want to explain why I think that the 2 things, the 2 movements, and I know MGTOW, they get all up in arms about not being a movement, but I'm going to call them what I want to call them, why I feel they are exactly the same, and why I feel that the rhetoric that's being spewed by the provocateurs that started these movements is very much a lot of lying and disingenuous rhetoric. So we're going to get into some real stats. We're going to get into some real conversation. You know that for me, I cannot approve of any behavior. I cannot respect any behavior or movement that breaks down the family structure. I think we have enough issues with the family structure already. We need strong families. We need strong male-female relations. We need proper male and female order. You guys know I'm very, very, very passionate about that. And that is why I cannot vibe with these people. Hi, India. Hi, Gab. Hi, Ms. Muhammad. Hi, DJ Batman. Hi, Righteousness Over Religion. So make sure you guys are thumbs upping the video, and so that we can get as many of our subscribers in as possible. I think this is a video that all of my subscribers will be down with. You guys know everybody's here for something different, but I think this will be one video where it's going to resonate with a lot of people. I want to deal with simply because a new MGTOW person has made a video about me, and then he graciously came to my comment section to let me know that he was present. And so I got time today for MGTOW. Normally, y'all, I let MGTOW make their little comments. I may talk to one or two of them here or there. I might call a couple of them babies, homosexuals. I'll call them something. Do you know what I mean? I might pick on the feminists a little bit. Normally, I don't have time for them, right? I just let them stalk me and be my biggest fangirls. But today, I've got time. Okay. I've got time for this life. I have time to talk logic. So they're always talking about logic, logic, logic. So let's talk some real numbers. Let's talk some real logic. Let's get down to this. And let me demonstrate how both the MGTOW people and the feminists are being manipulated and being used for the same thing that the homosexual agenda and the transgender agenda are being used, which is to divide the sexes and destroy the family. That's all it is. Y'all aren't special, okay? You guys are pawns in a conspiracy to destroy the family. This especially comes strong to me in the Black community because what people don't realize is there's a racist aspect to MGTOW. On my MGTOW videos, there are two types of comments I delete. The comments where people are talking sexual violence toward me, which are more common than you would realize. It's amazing to me that a lot of MGTOW people think they're such high quality men, but then they'll come and literally talk rape in the comment section. And then the other type of comments from MGTOW I delete are racist comments. And I would have to say that the rape comments and the racist comments are pretty high. So I could literally have thousands of comments on my MGTOW videos if I didn't delete those comments, simply because I'm not going to let a comment about raping me stand. I'm not going to let a comment about my race or Black women stand. I'm just not going to do it. So with that said, I want to go ahead and I want to get into the real statistics. Let's get into the real arguments by the feminists, by the MGTOW. I want to do a compare and contrast. I want to contrast what's being said with facts. And more importantly, I want to demonstrate how these two movements have a lot of the same rhetoric. Okay? And I think that this will be extremely important. Yeah, Dark Prophet, I'll be using some of their own numbers now as well. So let's go ahead and go. Well, Nico, I have to tell you, according to the MGTOW in my comments, they range from men who only want to buy sex to men who just won't have sex with women at all, which to me is borderline gay. But that's just me, right? Hold on one second. I have to get some tissue, you guys. Okay, you guys know that my allergies are like off the chain. So let's get into it. Okay. I made a video about that, Dark Prophet. So let's go. All right. So let's talk about Me Too first, okay? Anybody who's watched my videos for any length of time know that I'm not with the Me Too movement. The way that it stands, like I don't approve, I'm not with it, blah, 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 right? I think that there's a level of female accountability for, in sexual assault. I did a whole video on female accountability in sexual assault. And some women came for me in that video. Honestly, I think MGTOW's biggest problem with me is that I'm everything that they claim women are not, and I still don't like them. I think that's their biggest problem with me. Do you know what I mean? I am exactly what they claim women aren't, and I don't respect them. And so when we talk about Me Too, I'm not pro the Me Too movement. I think it's BS, but I also think there's a level of hysteria surrounding the Me Too movement because there have been 5, 10, not even, right? But let's just give it 10 very public cases with wealthy people regarding the Me Too movement, and people are acting like this is some widespread conspiracy throughout all of the world or all of the nation. And it's just not. The reality is, if 1,000 people come before a judge under a rape accusation, 995 of them go free. That's the reality. So does Me Too suck? Yes. But I also think that there's a level of hysteria surrounding the Oh, wait. You guys can't hear anything? I'm so irritated. Let's back it up. What's the last thing you guys heard? I hate it because you know this mic has a little button on it, and if you barely touch the button, the mic goes off. How are there 70 of you and you can't hear me? What the hell? Let's go back. Let's back it up. What's the last thing you guys heard? Really, since the start, you guys came here just to watch me talk passionately and you couldn't hear me? I should look at the chat every now. Okay, well, let's back it up. 995 out of every 1,000 rapists go free. Did you guys hear that? So I can agree that Me Too sucks. Yes, a man should not be able to be accused by a woman 50 years later of some stuff she can't remember. You guys saw how I went off about the Kavanaugh thing. I just thought that was absolutely stupid. So no, I don't think that that's the case. Hold on a second. Wait, you guys can hear me? I pressed it again. So you guys can hear me? Ugh, I can't. So 995 out of 1,000 rapists go free. I can agree that Me Too sucks. I can agree that Me Too sucks. It's awful. It's horrible. Blah, 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 blah. Fine. Right? But with that said, if 995 out of 1,000 actual people who rape women go free, those are pretty good odds, right? You could actually literally rape a woman and get away with it. That's not exactly an epidemic of men being drug off to jail, kicking and screaming because women are falsely accusing them. If you could win the lotto 995 times out of every 1,000 you played, life would be pretty clutch. If you could walk into a casino and you could win every time you pulled the slot machine, 995 times out of every 1,000, you would probably not be, you would never leave. Well, apparently you have a 995 out of every 1,000 of a chance of going free if you rape a woman. So I would say that Me Too isn't quite as out of control as people would like to make us think. But see, there's this whole thing with like gender wars and stuff like that, where they're trying to destroy the family, where they're trying to break down social structure and hierarchy, where they're trying to pit men against women, that are allowing these things to get blown out of proportion. Y'all need to stop watching television. You really, really do. You must stop watching television. It's crazy. You need to stop buying into everything in the media. What, five or 10 rich people get caught up in the Me Too movement and you want to make it like it's you? Don't make their problems your problem. Me Too isn't that bad. The average man is going free. That's what the statistics say. The like an actual predator is not even going to get arrested. And you think you're in trouble? This is an invasion of the body statures where people yell and scream and suddenly you have a parasite inside your body. It doesn't work that way. It's an exaggeration. Let's go into women getting custody of children more, because that's another one of MGTOW's talking points, right? Women get custody of children more. 91% of custody cases don't ever even see a judge. Never go to the judge. So if we're talking about how the court system is biased, is unbiased, or it is very biased against men, it doesn't really matter, because 91% of custody cases are not decided by the court. The court isn't the one who's giving women a bunch of custody. 51% of cases are decided by the parents with nobody else involved. That means 51% of the time, men are just giving their children to women. Let's get real about this situation. It's like, I cannot with MGTOW and their BS. I don't support them. I mean, I think a lot of them, not all of them. I've met some MGTOW guys that are just good guys. They're not psychopaths. But like 90% of MGTOW are retards. They truly are. And they're not good men. And they should go their own way because they're creepy. Like I said earlier, I have to delete racist and sexually violent comments against me from my MGTOW videos all the time. The feminists, the gays, all the other groups that I don't care for, they don't come for me like the MGTOW do. They're literally insane. So when we're talking about court bias and women getting custody more, let's be real. 91% of you are just are not even seeing a judge. 51% of men are literally just giving the woman custody of the kids. They don't talk to a mediator. They don't do anything. They just let her have the kids. 29% of parents agree that the woman's going to take the kid with third-party involvement, not a mediator. It could be your pastor. It could be a friend. It could be just a third party comes in. So now we're up to what? 50, 60, 70, 81%. 81% of the time, the parents decide to let the woman have the child on their own. There's no judge involved in that. There's no conspiracy. How are you going to let somebody have your child? You just don't even care, and then you're going to claim court bias. A judge is not hearing these cases or making those decisions. Those are the real stats. 11% of the time, the mother is given custody during mediation. Only 11% of the time do you go in and see a mediator and then the woman gets custody of the child. So these people that are saying the court system is so unfair to men for custody, no, you're letting the women have your kids, because it's only 5%. 4% of the time that that the judge hears the case. And then the other 5% of the time, it's after a custody evaluation, which means there's something egregious going on. There's something egregious going on, and because of that, an evaluation is done. The parents are vetted. Their mental status is vetted. Their work status is vetted. Their history with the child is vetted. So we could argue that an official court representative has the power to make the decision over custody cases only 9% of the time. 4% of the time, it's the judge. 5% of the time, it is after a custody evaluation. And the other 91% of the time, the parents decide on their own. So these MGTOW men that are arguing that the courts are making them not have their kids are full of crap. Because these men are agreeing to not have custody of their children of their own volition. It has nothing to do with anybody else. 91% of the time. And that's the real stat. And that's why I don't vibe with MGTOW. Because you guys are full of crap. Or you know nothing and you just latch onto a movement because you enjoy playing victim. Let's get into dads are 85% of child support providers. Okay, so let's get this straight. 91% of the time, the dad is like, take the kids. I don't even want the kids. You can just have the kids. No judge is making them do it. No court officer is making them do it. They're voluntarily giving the woman the kids. Only 48% of those people who have custody, be they men or women, are going to get child support. So most men, right, by 2%, 52% of men are paying no child support. The majority of men don't help with their kids at all. And the 48% that do, not all of them have court orders. Some of them are just good guys who voluntarily take care of their kids. It's a small percentage of people who actually get court orders from the court. So it's disingenuous. First of all, most kids aren't getting any support from the non-custodial parent at all. Second of all, the 48% that are, just to reiterate this, it's not always court order. Some people just don't need to be drugged to court to take care of their kids. Some people do that on their own. And again, I am tired of you guys pretending like you're a basketball player or you're a computer scientist and you're a millionaire and you're anything like these people you see on TV who are getting taken for $20,000 in child support a month. That's not you. If it was you, you wouldn't be crawling up under my video because you have the money to do something better than comment on my 5 or 10 minute video talking about how I don't like MGTOW. So like I said, today I've got time for this. You guys are always claiming that I don't take your feelings seriously. I don't take your talking points seriously. Well, here's me taking your stupid talking points seriously. As far as Me Too, sure, it sucks, but 995 out of 1,000 rapists go free. That's reality. So get over it. As far as women getting custody more, 91% of the time, you're giving those women your babies. So court bias has nothing to do with it because the court isn't making you do that. You're doing that on your own. That's just real talk. Own your stuff. As far as dads are 85% of child support providers, 85% of child support providers, but the 91% of kids that the father said that they didn't want custody of, only 48% of them are actually getting child support, which means most fathers don't support their kids. So I'm going to need MGTOW to get off their high horse. And number two, of the 48% who are getting child support, there's a percentage of dads who don't need to be drugged to court to take care of their kids. All 48% of those people are not court-ordered child support. It's just an agreement between the two parents because you know what? Civilized people who aren't broken and crazy are capable of working things like that out without going to court. It's a real thing. It occurs. It happens. While you're here, please feel free to like or dislike this video. because I want to be sure that everybody hears what I'm saying, especially my MGTOW fangirls. Since you guys say I never take you seriously, today I'm taking you seriously. Let's go on to MGTOW's next point, that women depend on men financially. I was actually like, you're right. Women do depend on men financially. Men have more money, da, da, da. I was thinking this in my head until I did the research. And it turns out that almost half of all households, women are the breadwinners. Oh, go figure that. Men are not the breadwinners. This is especially true in the Black community, which makes the racist, and there is a racist aspect to MGTOW, because as I mentioned earlier, something that I have to do on a regular basis, is delete racist comments from my MGTOW comment section, because they really don't like Black women. And it just gets their goat that I believe in female accountability and sexual assault. I believe in proper male headship. I believe in female submission. I'm not a feminist. And I didn't marry a Tyrone or a Pookie or a Ray Ray. Just gets their goat that a woman like me doesn't like them. Because it would be so much more easy if I was a feminist. It'd be so much more easy if I was a man eater. It would be so much more easy if I was any other kind of woman than what I am. But what does it say about you when a woman like me even thinks you guys are lightweight babies, feminine? And you can call it shaming language all you want. It's just the reality. And as we go through these stats, if you don't see that, then something is wrong with you. Because 90% of MGTOW are weirdos. And 10% of them are good guys who are getting caught up in propaganda. Women depend on men financially, but almost half of all households, the woman is the breadwinner. So I guess that's not so much the case after all, right? I guess women aren't really depending on men financially at all. Seems women have almost as much money as men, but they actually make more money than men 40 to 45% of the time. So to that MGTOW idea, it's just not realistic. It's stupid. You guys are wrong. You could go your own way, and apparently half of the women who were in those households will be just fine because you didn't make more money than her anyway. That's the reality. Let's go to most men pay alimony. Only 3% get it. Okay, so this only 3% men get alimony argument is based on a 2014 statistic. But let's put this in perspective. So first and foremost, most of y'all who are part of MGTOW, you guys don't make enough money anyway to owe anybody anything, okay? I'm gonna need you guys to stop acting again. I mean, every MGTOW person in my comment section is 6'12", a millionaire. Women are throwing themselves. One guy was like, people think I'm a movie star. I was like, for real? Really? And you're in my comment section mad about what I said in my video? But you're 6'100", an Adonis, flipping gorgeous with women throwing themselves at you left and right. You've got millions of dollars, but what you chose to do with your time was crawl under my comment section? No, you're a loser who can't get a woman, whose feelings got hurt by somebody, who's not about crap, and that's why you're in my comment section whining under my MGTOW video. You guys are mad because I'm not trying to change you over from MGTOW. I don't care that you're MGTOW. In fact, I like that you're MGTOW. I think all weirdos should be MGTOW. Please leave the regular, healthy-minded men who know how to lead and know how to be men. Let them deal with women. We have enough screwed up women over in the feminist side. I don't need any MGTOW people ruining anybody else. Like I said, wear a pin or a t-shirt. Please. That would be essential. So most men pay alimony, only 3% get it. That's based on a 2014 statistic. So let's put this in perspective. There are 300, or at the time of this statistic that every MGTOW person likes to quote, there were 318, almost 319 million people in the United States. 400,000 of them got alimony. There are hundreds of millions of adults in the United States, and 400,000 got alimony. So why are MGTOW collectively making it like alimony is shafting a bunch of men? Y'all never pay alimony. Are you one of the 400,000 people who was paying alimony to those individuals? No, you weren't. And that's why MGTOW is disingenuous to me. You guys are fake. I don't really think there's an alimony epidemic when there are hundreds of millions of people, but only 400,000, not even 500,000 of them are getting alimony. Consider this. Not even 500,000 people are getting alimony out of hundreds of millions of adults. That doesn't exactly sound like a huge alimony epidemic that's just taking men to the ringer to me. So before I move on to how MGTOW are exactly like feminists and their talking points, let me just recap all the things we've spoken about thus far. Let me just back it up. I just want to go over. Sorry, I stopped to look at your comments. And I'm sorry for all the technical difficulties. Y'all know I'm not tech savvy. Let's back it up over the points we've discussed so far. With regard to Me Too, I agree. A woman should not be able to pop up 100 years later, not remember what you did or where she was or what you look like, and still get you thrown in jail. But the reality is that men are in no danger from Me Too, despite what the media tells you, because 995 out of every 1,000 rapists goes free. Turn off your TVs. Maybe you won't be caught up in mass hysteria if you're not being indoctrinated for half of your day. Women get custody more, that is true, but it is not because the courts hate men and are biased. That's not why, because 91% of all custody cases never go before a judge or any court authority who makes that decision. 91% of the time, men are agreeing to let women take their children because apparently they don't want to have them. And why might they not want to have them? Because children are a huge, huge responsibility. And men typically like to work hard. They like to spend a lot of their time doing recreational things and building their businesses and things like that, at least the men I know. So it's understandable that a man would say, I'm going to be working, 60-hour weeks, you take the kids. But you cannot do that at the tune of 91% and then whine about how y'all aren't getting custody. Because only 4% of custody cases ever see a judge. 4%. So the MGTOW argument that they're not getting custody because the courts hate men or are biased towards women is absolute baloney. When 91% of the time, men are giving women custody of children willingly. Without interference of the court, 51% of the time, absolutely nobody has anything to do with their decision. 29% of the time, a third party is involved, but not a third party that can make a decision, just a third party that helps them negotiate. 11% of the time, the mom gets custody during mediation, and 5% of the time, there is a court investigation, a court custody evaluation that looks deep into the parents, which means that something is wrong with the parent who does not get custody. 4% of the time, a judge decides. So at 91% of the time, men just giving up their children with no desire for custody, we cannot make the argument with any sort of honesty. It's not even close that men aren't having custody of their kids because the court system, it's just BS. You're letting them divide us as men and women. Turn off media. They're full of crap. What the media is portraying is not reality. Dads are 85% of child support providers. Again, we're going back over what we already covered before I get to the exact points that MGTOW and feminists have that make them the same to me. Dads are 85% of child support providers. This is true. It's true because 91% of the time, the dad doesn't want the kids. So it would follow that they would pay child support more. But don't get on a high horse about the 85% of the time because most children don't get any support from their fathers. 52% of children get no support from their fathers whatsoever. Most kids are only being cared for by one parent. So the high horse is something I hope you fall off of and bump your head on the way to the ground. And of the 48% of children who do get support, it's not because a court ordered them. Many of those people are just good men who want to take care of their kids. And it's always a little suspect to me when a man whines about caring for his own child. That shouldn't be something anybody has to take you to court for. And I don't want you guys using the anecdotal evidence of the rich dude that paid $20,000 a month in child support from the gold-digging Instagram model that he knocked up. Because you're not rich. You didn't get an Instagram model, and that's not your story. So these anecdotal exceptions do not prove the rule. And I'm going to need you to stop trying to make it like their life is your life, because it's not. And for those of you paying child support, you're kicking out less than $200 a month anyway on average in the Black community. So shut up. Women depend on men financially. The next MGTOW talking point. And I admitted, I thought this was true. I thought that men do generally take care of women financially, but it turns out it's not true at all. So it's a MGTOW talking point that is literally completely wrong because almost half of the time women are the breadwinners of the household. So you walking away with your dysfunction and brokenness and inability to lead or have a woman who's submissive is irrelevant. Because most of them make more money than you anyway, apparently to the tune of 40 to 45%, which shocked me as a woman. Most men pay alimony, only 3% get it. That is based on a 2014 statistic. And the reality is there are literally hundreds of thousands of adults in this country who have been married and divorced. I'm sorry, hundreds of millions of adults in this country who have married and have been divorced, and only 400,000 of them get alimony. So almost 319 million people, and not even 500,000 are getting alimony. And MGTOW is using this as a talking point. Like, again, divorce automatically ends in alimony, and it's just not the case. So now that we've recapped what we've talked about already, I want to talk about how MGTOW is exactly like feminists to me. Alpha and Omega. Okay, let's just stop. I'm going to take a look at your comments really quick before I get to why MGTOW and feminists are exactly the same. But I wanted to address their main talking points because the reality is they're full of crap. So Alpha and Omega said there is something clearly wrong in the system against men, just being honest. Again, let's be clear. MGTOW says what's wrong in the system against men is that they are not awarded custody, they pay child support more, and they pay alimony more. But the reality of things is that the court isn't giving anybody custody most of the time. 91% of the time, Omega, it just is what it is. 91% of the time, the parents make that decision on their own. Nobody makes them. Nobody's making these men give women custody. They're doing that on their own. It is only 9% of the time that the court is involved, and only 4% of that time is it a judge. That's just the reality. Like I said, it's not like there are just copious amounts of amazing men out there who are getting shafted. That's not the truth. That's propaganda. It's propaganda to divide the sexes. And that's why I'm going to get into feminism and how MGTOW and feminism are one and the same thing to me. MGTOW is the male version of feminism. And both movements, both feminism and MGTOW, are crap. They are there to divide us. They are there to usurp healthy families, to ruin healthy male-female interactions. See, Skywalking, it's not even that they bitch out and let anybody win. It's not even that. Because again, they're not doing this in front of a judge. They just make that decision on their own. Remember, 51% of the time, they don't even talk to anybody from the court. They just say, hey, take the kids. I mean, it just is what it is. We have to be honest. Okay, Toriano, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying that you are the exception to the rule. That 4% of cases go before a judge. That's the exception. 4%, that's just the reality. That 4% is the exception. But MGTOW would make it like that's the norm. When the norm is 91%, never see a judge. Never have a court official decide custody for them. That is not decided for them. They decided on their own. That's just the truth. I mean, it just is. And we could have a whole separate conversation about the 4%, but the 4% does not prove the rule. Hi, Virtuous One. Okay, Deadbeat Dog, let's go there. MGTOW is telling men not to do anything. Feminists are telling women to do things. Nico, how is it ironic? You don't like facts? If the facts don't meet the rhetoric, you're not going to like it? Is that what this is? We only like the facts that meet our rhetoric? That in of itself is problematic. Do you know what I mean? How are we only going to like the facts that appeal to what we want? That's what I'm trying to understand. How are we only going to like the facts that appeal to what we want? Truth Jackson, because women think that children are their property, take your own kid from women and they cry, kidnap. Really? Because 91% of men give their kids to the woman willingly, without the court telling them to do anything. So that's funny to me that you would say that. AM1, I am kicking facts. Maybe you need to rewind things. I am kicking facts. 995 out of every 1,000 rapists go free. 91% of custody cases never go before a judge. Those are facts. That's a fact. That's not how I feel. That's a fact. Now, I feel that MGTOW are often broken people who are lost and getting caught up in a propagandized movement. That's a feeling. But me addressing MGTOW's talking points with facts is not a feeling. Only 48% of custodial parents get child support, which means most kids don't get child support at all. And of that 48%, they are not all court ordered. Many of those are cases where the parent just chooses to care for their child. So for MGTOW to act like men are getting shafted in the court is an absolute joke when most kids get no child support. That's not my feeling. That's a fact, AM1. To say that most men are paying alimony and only 3% are getting it, okay, that's a fact, but less than 500,000 people get alimony out of hundreds of millions of people. So it's not like all these dudes are just paying alimony, because only 400,000 people are getting it out of hundreds of millions of people. Those are facts. That's not my feeling. Those are facts. It's reality. Y'all can do the research for yourself. You guys know that I like to post links. And after this, I will get my links and I will post them in the description box, as I always do. But these are facts. Now, nobody has to like the facts, especially if they don't meet your talking point. But like, a fact is a fact. And you don't have to like it. You don't. But you know what? MGTOW tells me I don't take them seriously. I'm not addressing their talking points and blah, 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 blah. Well, consider your talking points addressed. Women depend on men financially, so they're going their own way so that we can suffer through being broke in silence. Well, it turns out that almost half of households, the woman is the breadwinner. So apparently half of women are not going to be too bothered by the loss of finances because they had more money anyway. That's a fact. That's not my feeling. That's not a feeling. That's a fact. Even on the male advocacy websites, they whine about that. They're like, women, 45% of them are the breadwinners, but we're still paying the most alimony. So even they admit that women are not dependent on them financially. It's one of their talking points because it's a fact. And, you know, and like I said, I think MGTOW's real problem with me is that here I am. I believe in female accountability for sexual assault. I believe we have accountability in that. I am not pro-Me Too. I am not pro-feminist. I believe in male headship. I believe in proper female submission. I believe in healthy families. I'm not any of the things that they claim they have a problem with, and I still don't like them. And that's really what MGTOW is upset about. That's really why they are literally obsessed with me, and they come to my channel by the tens of thousands. That's really why they're mad when it comes down to it. They're obsessed with women. They talk about how much they don't care what I think, but they literally come to my video by the thousands. They come to my channel by the thousands. Every interview I do, every panel I'm on, MGTOW is there for me. They're obsessed, but they don't care about women. No, you care. You care that a woman who is exactly what you say women aren't doesn't like you and doesn't want you guys back. I am not trying to convert MGTOW people. I think they're too broken to deal with women. And that pisses them off too. They think I'm trying to use reverse psychology. No, fool. I don't want anybody that messed up messing with any women. I think y'all need to go your own way. But what I do think is we also can address their issues because they keep asking me to do it. They keep asking me to address their real issues. So let's address it. But now I want to talk about how MGTOW and feminists are exactly the same to me. And I base this on the words of MGTOW, because if anybody has had MGTOW tell them what they think more than me, I don't know who it is. Because MGTOW, like, you guys don't even know. Like I said, I don't even leave all their comments up because half of their comments are about wanting to have sex with me for a bunch of people that don't like women. Half of their comments are about how when the social hierarchy falls, I'm going to be the first one to get raped. Half of their comments are about how I'm Black, so I must not have a man, and I must be poor, and I must be a feminist. So I have to delete most of their comments because most of them are weirdos, just to be straight up. And the ones that aren't weirdos normally end up subscribed to my channel because after they watch the rest of my videos, they see that I'm really, really on the level and I really, really love men and respect men. I just don't respect MGTOW. And it's not because I want them back, because those people are far too bizarre to be engaging in relationships with anybody. And that's not reverse psychology. Hear me clear, MGTOW. Don't come back. You're weird. You're weird people. Not all of you. Like I said, there's like 10% of MGTOW that are good guys. There are 10% of MGTOW who really got shafted by some evil woman. There's a smither of really good men in there, and it just breaks my heart that they're getting caught up with a bunch of sexually deprived, crazed lunatics whose talking points are all lies, as I've just proven, with facts. Now I want to talk about how MGTOW and feminists are the same. Both MGTOW and feminists don't believe in marriage. Feminists think marriage is oppressive to women. MGTOW thinks marriage is oppressive to men. Same talking point. Feminists think that men are basically barbarians who don't value women as human beings, but only think that we're sexual objects. MGTOW basically thinks women are evil and only good for sex. Very similar talking points. Do you get where I'm going with this? They're like the same creature. MGTOW and feminists are literally the same thing. They're feminists with penises. You guys agree on everything. The only difference is if the man or the woman is the evil person. MGTOW wants equality for men. Feminists wants equality for women. How do they get that? By bashing the opposite sex. Feminists bash men. MGTOW bashes women. Exactly the same. Name one difference. Name one difference. There are none. Feminists want women to be prostitutes and whores. MGTOW believe that women are prostitutes and whores. Same thing. It's amazing. It's literally like the feminists wrote the blueprint for MGTOW. Okay, David pointed one out. MGTOW don't believe that women are equal, but that's because MGTOW don't like women. And to be honest, feminists think that women are far better than men. They don't think that we're equal. They think we're better. Just like MGTOW thinks that men are better. You see? Same thing. This is why I don't vibe with the feminists and I don't vibe with MGTOW. They're both flippin' bizarre. They're both two sides of the same twisted coin. I haven't read Huffington Post. I haven't. Disney and Hollywood has emasculated men. Even the laws are women's favor. Okay, cool, Drew. Do I have to do this again? I mean, every time a new person comes in the room, do I have to repeat the same thing? Cool, Drew. How are the laws in women's favor? Tell me what is going on with men, with the law, because I've addressed all this already, but I'll readdress it for you if I have to. Feminism is evil, and MGTOW is just another group of people who don't have lives. I agree. I'm not for feminism. I'm not for MGTOW. They're both BS. The media allows feminists to spread their toxic views. MGTOW isn't mainstream. Okay, Imhala, that's valid. The media does allow feminists to spew their views all over. And you know why? Because women are easily manipulated. You know, because women acting stupid helps to turn men into monsters. That's why I'm not pro-feminism. Feminism is ruining it for good women. I completely agree with that. That is a difference. Feminism is given a mainstream face. It really is. If you call the cops, who gets taken? Definitely the man. You know, my man and I were having this conversation too. Look, the reality of things is everything cannot be equal. I could slap you as a woman. Okay, and I'm not saying it's right for women to put their hands on men, but I think that men need to stop comparing themselves to women. I think that that's very bizarre. If I slap you, I'm 5'2", y'all. Look at me. Okay? I'm not a big girl. I'm 5'2". I have little tiny hands. If I slap a man, how is it exactly the same as if a man slaps me? I'm likely to literally get knocked out cold on the ground if a man were to really slap me. That's why men are why people look more seriously when men put their hands on women. I'm not saying that there are some Amazonian women who are violent, okay? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's some women that really do need to go to jail for putting their hands on men. Do not get me wrong. But the reality is, it's more likely that a man will harm a woman if he puts his hands on her than vice versa. Simply because you guys are bigger and stronger. Just like it's my kid could hit me right now, but it's more likely that I will hurt a child if I hit a child than a child will hurt me by hitting me. And so they will hold me as an adult more accountable. And I mean, that just is what it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, we can't change that. We shouldn't want to. As men, you shouldn't want to. As men, you guys know that you're bigger and stronger. It doesn't make it okay for women to be violent, but to act like you don't understand why it's taken so seriously when men are violent, that part I don't understand. Because you guys understand why it's taken more seriously for men to be violent toward women. And that's because even if you're not trying, you could seriously hurt one of us without even trying, because you guys are big and strong, which is a sexy quality. But it also makes y'all dangerous if you hit us too hard. You know, like, I'm not with like, we're not the same. Stop. It's not the same thing. Oh, hi, Simone. The reason men agree to let the women have custody is because we're always told by attorneys that we will not win and have to pay attorney's fees. Well, Simone, that should not discourage anybody. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that might stop some men. I think that's honest. I think attorney's fees and being told that you won't win could have something to do with it. But I think in reality, a lot of the men I know, I'm gonna just talk about the men I know, successful men who are wealthy, okay? These men work a lot. They work a lot. And the reality is, it is not conducive to them making moves and being able to work those 60 and 70-hour weeks having a child. And that's why they allow the women to have custody. That's been my experience with men, is that that's their reasoning. I think some men might, for the reason you say, Simone, but I think that other men might be doing it because they simply don't want to have to be bothered with all that. It's just easier to let the woman take the kid. You know, because again, 91% of custodies are not decided by the court. Those are two parents coming together and the man just giving the woman the child without the court having anything to do with it. So court bias is not why women have custody of children. Well, AM1, I know there's no standard definition for MGTOW, but MGTOW does have talking points. And I think I've had enough MGTOW come and tell me their talking points for me to know their talking points. Trust me. I'm darn near a MGTOW expert, not because I want to be, because MGTOW has made it their mission in life to make me an expert. If there is nothing else MGTOW will do, it will come and tell me about MGTOW. I know all the kinds of MGTOW people that there are. Literally, I've had at least 30 or 40,000 MGTOW people come to my videos. I have to delete thousands of comments from MGTOW, and you guys know that I read all my comments. So I am literally a MGTOW expert. I have met every type of MGTOW person, and while each one internalizes it differently, there is a general stream of talking points, and I can't address those because I've heard them enough from MGTOW to address them. I see this conversation has brought the red pill creator out of his hiding place. Hi, red pill. It's been a long time. No see. Carly, not all MGTOW have sex. There are some MGTOW who won't sleep with women at all. There's some MGTOW who only will sleep with prostitutes. Like it spreads the gamut. I met one MGTOW who just wants to be celibate till he's married. I mean, that's what I mean. Like good guys are getting caught up in something where it goes so far left. Like when MGTOW goes left, it goes really, 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 really left. It gets completely and totally insane. Frantonio, but you're the exception to the rule as a Black man. Do you know what I'm saying? Most men are not paying $1,000 a month in child support. Most Black women are getting well under $200 a month in child support. So again, the exceptions don't prove the rule. Most men who are part of MGTOW, I don't think they have $1,000 disposable income to kick out in child support. So you are the exception, Frantonio. And that's what I would say. An honest conversation would be to say, when men do engage the system, which is very, very rare, when that 4% of men do engage the system, let's make the laws fair for that 4%. But to act like the 91% who make the choice on their own represent all of these men, that is disingenuous. That is what I'm saying. Judge Dredd, you can't ask anybody to block anybody. Dark Prophet is welcome here. Judge Dredd, you can't be instructing my mods to do stuff. Seth Freeman, you said that they don't hate women, but Seth, with all due respect, Seth, they hate women. Not all of them. Not all MGTOW, but a great deal of MGTOW hate women, Seth. I know this for a fact because MGTOW have literally told me, multiple MGTOW have told me that women are evil. That women have an evil nature. And that they cannot wait until there are artificial wombs so that they never have to have sex with women, but can just reproduce with the artificial womb. Like MGTOW gets really, really creepy and bizarre. And since, as AM1 pointed out, MGTOW means different things to different people, we can't say that MGTOW doesn't hate women. Some MGTOW may not hate women, but trust me, in my comment section, a lot of them do. A lot of MGTOW are waiting for the day when society collapses and women go unprotected so that they can rape women in the streets. This is real talk. This is from their mouth. MGTOW, a lot of them are crazy as hell. And I would advise the good guys who are part of MGTOW to not, create a new movement if you need to. Because MGTOW may not be the one for you. A lot of those people are weirdos. Thank you, Grey Dove. We've all seen how the MGTOW men speak of women. Do you know what a society like that could become for women? It can only get more and more harsh. Yeah, I'm sick of people pretending like they've never watched a MGTOW video. I don't watch any MGTOW videos, but I don't have to since MGTOW make it a point to come to my page and just tell me about themselves. I can tell by what comes out of their mouth that they're psychopaths. Almost all of them are completely psychopathic. Like I said, there's like 10% of MGTOW that are cool people and normal and have valid points. Some of them have really been shafted by the system. Some of them are good guys who got up with jerky women. But 90% of MGTOW are nut jobs. It's just, it is what it is. Oh, wait, whoa. Dog it dog. I don't like feminists. So all sex is rape stuff is stupid. Obviously, all sex is not rape. Let's be clear. I don't like feminists either. I don't approve of feminism either. Feminism is BS. Okay? They're weird takes on sex. I mean, feminists don't even think women should have babies. They think breastfeeding is oppressive. They think having a uterus is oppressive. Feminists think everything. Feminists hate women. Something else MGTOW and feminists have in common. They both hate women. Feminists are very anti-woman. And MGTOW is very anti-woman. Go figure that. Like I said, MGTOW and feminists are like two sides of the same coin. AM1, how am I easily manipulated? I mean, it's not enough for you to make that profession, AM1. We could argue this out on our one-on-one if you want to. AM1, men going their way is not about individual empowerment. That's not true. When literally I'm getting rape threats from MGTOW, that's not about male empowerment. How is raping me male empowerment? Explain that to me, AM1. How is telling me I'm going to be raped the moment enough men go their own way male empowerment? How is telling me women have an evil nature male empowerment? How is calling me a black bitch male empowerment? How is saying that I'm black, so no men want me anyway, because black women are trash, male empowerment? Explain that to me. What is empowering for men about that? Like I said, there's a small sect of good guys that are MGTOW, but overall, MGTOW, they're full of weirdos. They're under my video being like, I'd smash, I'd pump her and dump her. How is that male empowerment? What is empowering about that? What is empowering about that? What is empowering about telling men to not engage in healthy relationships with women? How is that empowering? The feminists say they're empowering women too, but the feminists are weirdos too. Why do weirdos get to be, I'm sorry, you guys know I'm anal. I can't with these pillows. Why is it that the weirdos are always the ones talking about empowered? I want to empower people to engage in healthy male-female relationships. These feminazis and MGTOW babies are destroying male and female order. Why don't we click the like or the dislike? Because I know I have some MGTOW people in here. And strangely, you guys know I have MGTOW people that are subscribed to my channel. Because like I said, not all MGTOW are weirdos. Well, Gray Dove, the problem is that it would be empowering if all the other stuff wasn't involved. Do I think that men should get themselves together? You know what I mean? And not focus on women, not be tricking off their money on women and stuff like that? Absolutely. I do. Save your love and your overtures for a good woman who's going to be submissive to you, who's going to be right for you, who you can build a family with. But that's not what MGTOW is spewing. They're not. They're talking about artificial wombs and hiring third world country women to have their babies and paying for prostitutes and how women are only good for sex and are evil. That's not male empowerment. Frank Truth TV said, if women know that men are stronger, then why do they intentionally provoke men? Why do they statistically initiate most cases of domestic violence and then play the victim? I will say this. I was joking with my man because he said something and I pushed him. You know what I mean? I can't move him. Like, he's a big dude. I cannot actually move him with my pushes. So he kind of like just goes like this. Like, if I touch him, I could push hard. I can't actually hurt him. The thing is, like, you know what I mean? I don't think it's right for women to put their hands on men. And like I said, I think women can do damage to men because I know some big women. I've heard of women, I've had men tell me they know women that like will fight like a dude. But I would say that that is not the norm, right? The norm are, I think I'm the norm. The norm are women are tiny. And it's kind of like, if one of my little girls was to come and start being violent with me right now, I could be violent back. But the thing is, I don't need to use as much force because I'm bigger and I'm stronger. And I mean, it's not fair. Do you know what I mean? That's why you hear about parents being beat up by their kids. Like, it's not fair. But the thing is that when you are bigger and stronger, like, you're not able to come back with the same level of force. Do I think that it's okay for a man and woman to beat up on each other and only the man to go to jail? No. But if she scratches you and you punch her in the face, you might go to jail. Do you know what I mean? Just because of, you punched her in the face. It's not exactly like fighting a man. I think men shouldn't go to jail for fighting other men at all. But I do think, like, to ignore the fact that a woman is not able to, without a weapon, most cases. I mean, some men are dating women that are much bigger than them, but like in most cases, your woman is going to be significantly smaller than you. I know I have to look up to talk to my man when I'm not wearing heels. So it would just be crazy to expect us to have the same standard for physical interaction. Do you know what I mean? I think, like, we're kind of caught up in this society where we think men and women are the same, and we're not the same. We're very different. AM1, please don't do MGTOW isn't a movement. I can't with that. Like, I don't care. I'm calling it a movement, okay? I am calling it a movement. I know MGTOW likes to claim that they're not a movement because it makes them feel special. I don't know. Y'all are a movement, okay? I'll define you. If you can't even be consistent in defining what MGTOW is, you can't really define if it's a movement or not either. I'm gonna pull your MGTOW defining card. Yes, dog it dog. Feminists call men rapists. That's so true. That's why I don't vibe with feminism. Feminists will have you thinking all men are violent. And here's the thing. You guys, I don't know how many of you guys watched my video on prostitution and porn. But my argument in that video is that feminists say, I would say that men are not violent, right? Men are not rapists. There's nothing toxic about masculinity. Like, masculinity is flipping awesome, okay? I would say that. But then if I have people like MGTOW coming and saying women are only good for sex, if women didn't have male protection, they would be getting raped in the streets. Well, that kind of makes feminists argument that men are rapists sound true. And that's why I said that feminists and MGTOW, they feed into each other and they're much one of the same. You know what I mean? Like, you don't exactly make the feminists look wrong when you hypersexualize women and reduce them down to holes. So I don't agree with that feminist ideology, but I will say sometimes men don't really help us women who try to defend you guys. Sometimes you guys don't. AM1, first of all, no woman fears a man who thinks for themselves and is capable of self-control. Thinking for yourself and having self-control is one of the things I look for in a partner. I mean, that's called being a man and a leader. MGTOW is not about thinking for yourself or having self-control. That's just weird that you would say that. Like, I think men in general think for themselves, are leaders, and have self-control. That's not unique to MGTOW. I mean, most men that I know, that's how they move. Like, men are built leaders. I don't think there's like an epidemic of men not thinking for themselves or having well, there might be an epidemic of men not having self-control, like control over their penises. I mean, there's a middle ground between a heterosexual male not having sex with women at all, which is going to turn you gay. All right. Or you're going to start having sex with one of those rubber dolls or fake vaginas or something. You're going to get into some weird stuff if you're never having sex and you're heterosexual. Like, you just can't go your whole life and not be with a woman. That's just weird. Okay. That sounds like some homosexual crap to me. But there's a fine line between that and having sex with every woman that you find attractive. You know, like, there is a middle ground. There's like a middle place, and like, we could get to that middle place. We could get to that middle place. You don't have to be an all-out whore, but you also don't have to be a eunuch. Like, I mean, what's up with the extremes? Why is everybody an extremist these days? That's what I'm trying to understand. Let me catch up to your comments, y'all. I'm not going to dig on this much longer. Frank Truth TV said, forget that women are so tiny they can't hurt you. All that does is give women first of all, like I said, I don't approve of violence towards men by women. I don't approve of that. I'm not seconding that. I'm just saying that if I punch you and a man punches me, it's not the same. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not right for me to punch a man, but I can't knock you out. I probably can't even move your head. Like, look at my fist. Like, seriously. Let's put this in perspective. This is a pawn on a chessboard. This is my fist. That's how tiny my hands are. Do you see that? Like, this is a pawn. This is my hand. If I punch a guy, now, men, think about how big your hands are. If I were to punch you versus you punching me, it's not right for me to punch you, but like, it's literally not the same thing. Like, it's literally not. Okay. And that's all that I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying it's okay for women to be violent toward men or any of that stuff. I'm just saying, like, it's not the same. Like, we cannot overarchingly inflict the same level of damage with just our body. Now, if I grab a bat or something, I might have a fighting chance. But, you know, that just is what it is. Well, I don't want to get away with it because I'm not a violent person. Let's be clear. I don't believe in violence. Well, AM1, most people are social clones. That's not like a man thing. That's like a people thing. Well, ZLV, let's not talk about women's UFC fighters, because don't we have a transgender fighter bashing women's skulls in? Literally crushing women's skulls because it's a man beating up on women. And that's how we know there's a difference. If anything, you bringing up UFC proves my point. They've got that man in there with fake breasts and an inside-out an inside-out penis, literally bashing women's skulls in. Well, Tug TV, you would never have a chance to listen to my voice in and out, okay? Like, I'm not even a person you could obtain to have that problem. I'm just saying. Oh, well, I don't have that training then, but I am arrest and firearm certified. So I can, in theory, take a man down. But see, I'm not good for violence. Y'all, I think I told you guys, I got robbed once and I had mace and I could not even bring myself to mace the person. Like, I was afraid something would go wrong and then that he would hurt me. So I just gave him my money. You know, when I got robbed, I just gave him my money. I did. Yeah, I think that here's the thing. I'm not a conversionist. I'm not trying to convert anybody over. I'm just sharing my ideology. I think if people don't want to marry, don't want to, I mean, do what you do. You know what I'm saying? I think if you're a very dysfunctional person, like if you have definitely been hurt so bad by women or by men that you cannot engage a man or a woman in a healthy way, like don't pass your dysfunction on. Just stay away from people. That's the one part of MGTOW I agree with. Them staying away from women. I think that that's right. I think if you, I mean, some of the stuff they say, dude, some of the stuff MGTOW says, I'm like, man, you do need to stay away from women. I'm going to need you to not, you know? Oh, Kanu King. I don't know. Hi, Nicole. It's not shaming language. See, this is what I mean. Shaming language doesn't work for what? Let me be clear. I don't care if MGTOW doesn't sleep with women. I wish all MGTOW to stay MGTOW. I think one thing that MGTOW doesn't like about me is that I'm not trying to convince them not to be MGTOW. You guys are always talking about shaming language and reverse psychology. You people are psychos. I don't want you in relationships with women, screwing up more women. We have enough women who are feminists as it is. Leave the healthy women alone. Let the healthy men have the healthy women. Now, that I honestly and truly believe. Like, that's real. I honestly and truly believe that. So, as far as shaming language, shame you for what? Trust me, I am not trying to convert MGTOW people over. That is like the last thing I'm trying to do. I have read enough comments from MGTOW to know that you people are making the right decision. Let me tell you that much. Okay, well, Frank Truth, how about I gloss over your whole comment other than to say thank you? Yes, AM1, respect is more of the principal idea. Like I said, I don't believe in women putting their hands on men, but I also think we have to have an honest conversation and that it's not the same. It's not the same thing. But women should not do it, and women should be punished for doing so. All right. But we also want to be clear that it's not the same thing. It's a little more dangerous. And I think just like I have to be careful hitting a child because I could hurt them, men have to be careful when they put their hands on women because you're bigger, you're stronger, you could do more damage. And women should not put their hands on men. So with that said, you guys, here I go shaming men again. Oh my gosh. For all of you people who are saying I'm shaming men, let's be clear. You need to watch more of my videos. I don't shame men. I love men. I mean, I love them. Okay. So MGTOW, please do not confuse my feelings about MGTOW with my feelings about men. MGTOW and men are not the same thing to me, even remotely close. I just don't even think you should lump regular, healthy, functioning men in with MGTOW. That's more of an insult to the men than anything. But let's just, I'm going to go, but let's go ahead and just double back over our discussion today. MGTOW, I had time for you today. I'd like to thank you for coming by the tens of thousands to my videos and getting on my nerves. You have provoked me to make a live just for all of you, to address your talking points that you guys say I never address, because if I would address them, I would be more pro-MGTOW. Well, I have looked up the various talking points most of you have brought up, and I have found that you are all stupid idiots. Here goes my general synopsis. With regard to Me Too, I agree with you that women should not be able to simply pop up 40 years later and claim that a man touched them in the wrong way and him have his whole life destroyed. However, I think the anecdotal Me Too situations that we're seeing in media are not indicative of real life. I think that they are not indicative of real life because media is a propaganda machine. And real life shows us that 995 out of every 1,000 rapists goes free. This means that most people who actually rape women never see a jail cell and don't have their lives ruined. They go on to lead happy and productive lives, we hope, or they go on to rape more women. I don't know. But 995 out of 1,000, that doesn't sound like an epidemic to me. With regard to women getting custody more of children because the court system is hateful toward men and biased, I would have to say that's bullshit. And I would say that because 91% of all custody cases never go before a judge or any other kind of court official. 91% of the time, men simply choose to let the women have custody of their children. 51% of those 91% custody agreements are done by the parents without a court or a court mediator or anybody. It's just 51% of the time the father just goes, here, take the kids. I don't want the kids. I've got a lot of work. I'll see the kids on the weekend. 29% of the time, the agreement is made with the help of a third party. That could be a pastor, that could be a family member. It is not a court official. So 51% or 29% of the time, that's how custody is decided. Again, this has nothing to do with the court, so court bias is not playing a part in that. 11% of the time, a court mediator is involved and the woman is given custody. But let's be clear that in mediation, both parties have to agree to that. The court mediator doesn't make the woman have custody. The mother and father are agreeing. And only 5% of the time, there is a custody evaluation, which means that something is found wrong with one of the parents, or it is found that it's in the child's best interest to be with the mother. Only 4% of cases ever go before a judge. So in a situation where 91% of all custody is determined by the parents, void of any judicial interjection or decision, we cannot have a fair argument that men are not getting custody of their children simply because the courts are biased. Men don't have custody of their kids because they're giving custody freely over to the mother. With regard to dads being 85% of child support providers, this is true. But the reality is, if 91% of children are with the mother because the father simply refuses or doesn't want custody of the child, you have to do that in your room. Refuses or doesn't want custody of the child, then it would follow that the fathers would be the most people paying child support. But let's be clear that most children do not get child support. Most children do not have their fathers taking care of them. So for MGTOW to act like there are just all these men getting shafted by the child support system when over half of children get no help from their fathers whatsoever, I think it's a bit of a joke. If MGTOW was really pro anything, they should be pro those over 52% of kids actually getting support from their fathers, because right now they're getting zero. The 48% of children who do get child support, that support is not court ordered. A great deal of that support is simply fathers doing the right thing on their own without a judge deciding. It is a very minute number of cases where the court orders child support. With regard to women depending on men financially, and so MGTOW going its own way and taking their money with them is such a big deal. The reality is, and male advocacy groups agree with this, that 40 to 45% of households, the woman is the breadwinner. So the reality is it's kind of almost 50-50 between men and women with who makes the most money in a household. So that whole argument that men are taking their money and leaving women destitute is just a stupid one. With regard to most men paying alimony and only 3% getting alimony, what I have to say to that is that stat is true, but it's also true that almost nobody gets alimony. The reality is, out of the hundreds of millions of adults in this country who marry and get divorced, only about 400,000 of them, less than 500,000 of them, get alimony. Which would mean that MGTOW's premise that men are just being drugged with child support and alimony and all of that is absolute BS, because the facts don't support it. As I said at the end of this video, I will be putting links to numerous sources where you can look up this information on your own. I encourage you to do the research. And if you just want to hate women, hate them. You don't need a reason. No need to create straw men so that you can hate women, when the reality is you're just hurt and bitter because you either A, can't get the women that you want because you're broke and you think that women want money. 2, are derelict in your behavior and attitude, so no real woman will want to deal with you. 3, you actually were hurt by a woman, and so it's made you just a woman hater. Or 4, you genuinely are a good guy who was shafted by the system, or you're a good guy that got sucked into the rhetoric of crazy people. And in conclusion, MGTOW and feminists are the same to me because number 1, feminists and MGTOW both hate women. Number 2, feminists think that men are monsters and MGTOW portray themselves as monsters. Number 3, feminists say that all men want from women is sex and that men are essentially just walking and talking sexual predators. And MGTOW thinks that if male protection is gone, they'll be able to freely rape women into the streets. And I've had many MGTOW tell me this, so that's a fact. More importantly than anything, both feminists and MGTOW don't believe in healthy families. They want us to be dysfunctional. They want women to hate men and men to hate women. And in that sense, MGTOW and feminists have the same agenda, which is the destruction of healthy male-female relations and the destruction of a healthy family. When the powers that be come for us, they're going to be coming for us through the destruction of the family. And the biggest reason I don't support feminism, homosexuality, and MGTOW is because the thing that they all have in common is the warping of healthy male-female relations and the promotion of the destruction of the family. And I cannot vibe with that. Period. So here you go, MGTOW. I addressed your little funky issues. I still think they're BS. No, I don't want to convert you. I'm not afraid that a bunch of weirdos don't want to have sex with women. Like, based on a lot of your comments, I'm glad you guys don't want to have sex with women. Like, if you guys never speak to or touch another woman again, it will be too soon. Everybody is not interested in converting MGTOW. And just because I don't like you doesn't make me a feminist or a man hater. It means I don't like MGTOW. You guys don't represent all men. You guys are not indicative of all men. Your behavior is not reflective on all men. You guys make yourselves far too important. You guys are obsessed with me. Like, you guys are literally obsessed with me. It's disgusting. I have hundreds of videos And you guys make those 2 videos, one of which was a requested video that I made about MGTOW, as if I really care about y'all, and I don't. It's you guys that are stalking me all over the web, showing up on every interview, showing up on every panel I'm on, coming to my channel all the time talking for people who don't care about what women think. I'm pretty surprised that you're bothering. Last time I checked, I was a woman. Just chalk me up to the list of women you can't get and will never have. Not because women are evil, but because you are disgusting. And it just so happens that decent women don't vibe well with disgusting men. You would do well to take a line, a page, a chapter out of the book of men who are doing it successfully. Because, believe it or not, there are men and women who are engaging in healthy male-female relations. It's not a fairy tale. It's just sometimes when you're super, super dysfunctional and super broken, you tend to pick broken and dysfunctional people. That is the reality of the thing. And with that said, I'm going to go. I will be live with Obsidian tomorrow, which should be interesting. I'm looking forward to that. And I should be live with Nyla Says on Sunday. We'll discuss white femininity versus Black femininity. Obsidian and I will be having a one-on-one. I might be bringing somebody else in to talk with him. It should be pretty interesting. I'd like to thank all the MGTOW in my comments. I'd like to thank my MGTOW subscribers. Because like I said, I don't think all MGTOW men are bad. Just most of you guys. I'd like to thank the women in the chat as well. And I'd like to thank the many, many, many good men who subscribe to my channel as well. Who are married, who lead healthy households, who are good leaders. I would like to thank the women, and so many of them speak up about how much they love being in submission to their husbands, how much they value male headship. I just want to thank the functional people, because I think in this society, dysfunction gets so much attention. And those of us who aren't complete and utter weirdos, we get cast aside like we don't exist. And the reality is we do exist. And we're tired of the crap of the weirdos in the room. We're tired of you guys making it look like there are no normal people who just lead normal, healthy lives. The reality is we are still out here and we are pushing back against this. We're pushing back against the gay and homosexual agenda. We're pushing back against feminism. We're pushing back against MGTOW. We're pushing back against the destruction of our families. We're pushing back against media propaganda. We're pushing back against the gender war. Everybody's not with it. Sometimes you got to take your propaganda elsewhere. And quite frankly, if you want to come to my channel, you can. But for the record, I didn't really invite you. And if you don't like my facts, I don't care. Go make a video about it, like you guys have been doing. Maybe I'll give it a thumbs up. I'm going to go ahead and go. I'm way behind in the comments. I really appreciate all of your time. And I will see you guys tomorrow for my interview with Obsidian. I will see you guys Sunday, hopefully for my interview with Nyla. I promise you, I feel like every time I'm like, let me interview Nyla, she literally gets sick. She had a fever and she's been off her channel and everything. I think she popped into Sinji's like briefly, but poor thing. So hopefully I'll have her, because I really want to know about white versus Black femininity. I don't even know what she's gonna say, so I'll be surprised. And I'm very excited about my interview with Obsidian, but I'm also like a little bit scared because Obsidian is a character, so I don't know what he's gonna bring. But I think that you guys should enjoy that interview a great deal, and I will talk to you guys later.